Well, there you are. Again. Charlie Greer podcast. I do this every day. Today, Los Angeles car flipping. Fun. Used carsman? Nah, not really. But perhaps, I didn't work on a lot or wear a polyester suit. And so let's get into this. So I lived in LA for 24 years. It's expensive. You got to make a living. When I was out there, I was doing a lot of things. I was in a band. I was doing my acting. I did art shows. I had written a script and I had a producer and you said, see, doing all this stuff. I had this, this drive. I was young too. Well, like people don't, there's different kinds of people. I was one of those people that's like, go, fun. We want to have it. So, you get there and you need a lot of free time, meaning there's so much stuff to do. It's sunny. Let's go to the beach. Come on. You don't want to be stuck in a 9-to-5 job. No, not me. I've had them when I was out there, but I'd always revert back to flipping cars and guitars. I'll get to flipping guitars, but we're going to speak about cars. I love cars. Cars represent freedom to me. You ain't got a car, well, better get on the bus or the train, which I did. Nothing against the hay, So, you need a lot of free time. I'd have gigs. I'd have art shows. I can't be, I'm not going to make it and then work. No, they're going to fire you. So what you have to figure out, you have to have some ingenuity. You said like, what can I do? I love cars. And I found out about this place called Cars for Causes. It's in the San Fernando Valley. At the time, they've moved around and changed their name. And what people do is they'll donate their old car to get a tax write-off. You get and at least that's what they told me. Hey, and at first I just went there because a friend of mine, like, hey man, you need a cheap car, go to this place. And then you go and all the cars are gone. And then they're like, hey, you know what? You need to be here at like 5 a.m. when we've opened up and there's all kinds of cars. Within the first hour, they're gone. Really? I'll come back tomorrow then. So you go. And the first car I got, I was shocked. I got like a Volvo. It was an older Volvo, but man, it was nice. Maroon, white interior, sunroof. It was a real Volvo. Like I think they call it Lambasun, I think it was. It has like badges on the grill in the front, and I think they're made in Sweden or somewhere. So it was like everything was in a different language. Awesome. Ran like a top. Never had to do. The thing was awesome. 2-door hard top. At the time, I didn't know how rare it was. I got it for $300. $300. Now this is in the late 90s, but still $300 for a car. Anybody can scrape that up. And I loved it. It was good on gas. It was reliable. It was quiet. It was everything. The seats were nice. Hey. Funny thing about that car, I was driving and I thought, man, I'll never sell this car. Oh, this car is it. And some dude pulled up. Hey, that's a Lambasun. Is that a, whatever it was, yeah, it was. I pulled over. Well, look at, somebody shipped this over. They must have shipped this over or something. This is an expensive car. Oh, really? Because hey, I own the gas station around the corner. I'm like, oh, yeah, I've seen you. I go there. So I went there. And he's literally had he didn't even borrow. He goes, here, man. I forgot how much cash it was. You want to sell it? I was like, man, I don't want to sell. How much cash are you going to give me? Let me go get the title. So I drove, get the title. Bye. Took that lump of cash and then went, had a friend take me back to Cars for Causes the next morning. But wait a minute. My pea brain. Because I got enough money now to buy a car and live for like what? Maybe I should do this more often. Thank you. So I did. But then you don't want to be all like needy and like, I'll buy the, and you can only buy so many. At first I was kind of, I want the, and I'd bring people. If I'd take them to lunch, I'd pay them, I'd give them gas points. Like, look, we'll take one car, we'll take 2 or 3 people. I'm buying all these cars. You drive them to my street, and then I'd have to, every week, take them to the next side of the street for street cleaning or whatever. But most of the time I'd be like selling them. Be like, you're crazy for doing this. Am I crazy like a fox? Perhaps, because I was making more money. They were like, oh, you sell. Oh, how much you make a week? Well, I work at Universal Records. I'm in the dead. Well, guess what, man? I'm making you pencil pusher. You're told, come on. Other people were like, dang, tell me, teach me. And I did. Taught my friends how to do it. And I was always driving a cool car. There'd be times when I lived in Pasadena, I had a driveway. I had a Mercedes and a BMW. It's hard to put that on a resume if you're like in a job interview, because people just don't, this is what weird about life. People don't realize they're narcissists, meaning they can't think any other way. So it must be, what? And if you're not a pencil person, 9 to 5, whatever, subservient to the, no. Something's wrong about that. Like you're some kind of shady person, or you're not like, no, man. I don't get that about people. That's the easiest to read about people, is that kind of, and I'm gonna have a podcast about conversation versus interrogation. See, conversation is back and forth, friendly. Interrogation is just a series of questions. You're not having a conversation. You're being interrogated. And that's what people do nowadays. I hear it all over. I can't go anywhere with somebody. Is that what I should do? Oh, really? Mind your own business. How about that? Don't worry about me. Because I like to point the finger at me first. You know why? Because then I can contemplate, do a personal inventory, and get better at what I want to do. Again, most people aren't going to even wrap their head around that, let alone do it. So flipping cars in Los Angeles. Yeah, I didn't have like a polyester suit or work in a car lot. Sometimes I wouldn't. I mean, again, if I'd made a little bit of nest egg, fuck, I don't want to be flipping cars. And I'd be, hey, hanging out. Again, it was all about, for me, enjoying life. I didn't want the responsibility of a house. Be like, I want a house. You know how much upkeep's on a house? The property taxes, isn't that? And then you start worrying about the lawn. And no. I wanted to live life. My dad died when he was young. Most of my family's dead. So I was like, man, I just want to live this life. You get dropped into this life. You don't know you don't get to choose who you are, your race, your name, none of that. So it's just like, well, I just want to do what I want to do. I get it. There's different kinds of people in this world. Most people couldn't be, they're all nervous. And I've had friends who are like, man, they're depressed without having a job. Like they don't ever do anything they don't do any hot side hustle. And I get friends, and hey, that's good. Live your life. But I've had friends where they can't even enjoy themselves on a day off. Like, what? Well, I feel guilty. Really? So I would do this. I taught friends. I had girlfriends. I taught that. Oh, yes, hey. Or they needed a car. Like, hey, come on, let's do. The worst, there was a place, because they moved around, and then there's other places. There was Cars for Causes, Cars for whatever, And I guess it was a nonprofit. I don't know. But I needed a car, a good car. So I went to, they had moved, I was at Pacoima. They were in Pacoima, which is in the San Fernando Valley, like part of LA. And, just a heads up, if you're ever in LA, be careful when you're in Pacoima. It's rough. Yeah. It's like a bad area. I could say more, but I ain't, So again, I do the thing where I show up at like 5 a.m. they open the gate. And what you do is there's cars, and they'll put on the windshield. Like, okay, it runs great. We did a tune up, pass smog, whatever. There's cars that need work. Like, oh, the transmission's bad, but it's, bad stuff. So I would look for one that I was ready to go, pass smog. They tuned up, this, that, So there was a Chevy Blazer, like a short stubby one, like a 2-door, You push the seats down, and it had a, hey, put all my gear in there. Whatever. So what you do is you'd stand at the car. There was a guy walking around. He'd give you this piece of paper, and then you stand there. Then they come around, and they, okay, this is it. And you have to wait for your turn to go to the window. You got to pay for the car, pay the car taxes, all that stuff. They would register everything right there. All you had to do was take it, go get insurance, and then did you have to go to the DMV? Maybe. I always had AAA, so I'd go to the AAA because the DMV in LA, whoa, that's another. There'll be a line out the door. I mean, man, that's a thing. You might be there for like 5 to 8 hours. Pardon me. One time I was there forever, and as soon as I got in there, they closed. What? I've been standing at that, and they're like, okay, here, come in the morning. You'll be first. Morning, still say, hey, all sunburnt face. And so I'm in Pacoima. I get the Blazer, $800 for this, in my opinion, it's a little faded paint. It's California. The sun is beaten down, but it's a California car, so there's no rust. It had low mile. Hey, there you go. So as I'm standing by the car, here comes this group of I hate to call them gangbangers, but maybe shit. And I heard the guys go, "Oh no, not these guys!" And they're like, "Hey, go call, get security, whatever." And they come up to me. Again, they're not physically threatening, but when there's like 8 of them and they're probably armed, it gets tricky. So, I say, this is the car I want. I pull like a, Jedi mind trick. Oh, no, this is not the car you want. It is. No, it's not. Mosey on, Pilgrim. Oh, that's see. And again, you can't show any. And the guy, they did. Again, they'll just pick on the weak. They don't want to, come on. But dude was like, dude, they are some serious people. So when you leave, don't even stop. There's the road to the highway. Hit the highway. Get where you're going. Don't even stop and get gas, because they might follow you and steal your car or whatever. Bodily harm, who knows? And I road dogged that Blazer to, I had it for years. I was going to, Costa Mesa. I was all over LA County. It was reliable. And the years that I had it, of course, those Chevys, what problems you're going to have is you're going to do, it's the water pump and the fuel pump, which back then was like, you could get one at AutoZone for $140, pay somebody to put it in, no big deal. Like $200, $250 to get it done. But that was motors were great. But those water pumps, those fuel pumps. But it was every 2 years I had to do something. And I told in my podcast where I sold a car to these criminals and they used it in crime. That's the Blazer I was talking about. Because I flipped that. I was like, man, okay, I got that. I want to buy some more, because I finally realized, because I thought man, I'll never drive a Mercedes or BMW, just because in LA, everybody's got a Mercedes or BMW, and they kind of get their self-worth from what I ain't like that. But then I got one really cheap, a BMW for cheap, like $700. Nice. A 525i or something like that. Anyway, it was a 5-speed. It was fat, 6-cylinder. It was nice. I got it, I think, for $700, and then I flipped that for so I was like, wait a minute, I'll start flipping these Mercedes and BMWs, and I'd run into people that would be buying these cars at these places. Like, yeah, man, that's all I buy. If there wasn't any, they'd leave. They would just, because they'd make more money, And there's also Craigslist. For a while, Craigslist was really good for buying cars. Was it OfferUp? It was like an app I used, OfferUp. But I loved it. I could work from home. Again, it's a lot of scouting. If you're doing stuff online, and then you got to, of course, put the ad out. I wouldn't let people test drive. I wouldn't be like, well, let me take it around the block. Well, you know what? I'll drive you around the block and we'll get on the highway, but you ain't driving my car. You're not taking off anywhere, man. You're not even going down the street. Because I know people were like, dude, that happened. He said he was going to go down the street and back, and he just took off. Bye. That ain't going to be me. And sometimes you get like this weird stuff happens. Like, I don't know if you call it luck. Because I've got to the point, I would be like, I would call I'd see the ad or whatever, and I'd call and I'd be like, look, I ain't driving to Inglewood or wherever, well, if things all spaced out in LA. I'll give you an extra $100, even $200 if you bring it to me. Because I'm buying something for cheap. Sometimes 50, 100, depending on how far they're coming. They would always do it. I never got turned down. Like, hey man, you bring it to me, I'm going to buy the car. I'm not going to test drive. You just pull up, give me the money, and that's also, it'll prove to me that it'll make it, because I know about cars. I can smell if a car's not running. I know what to look for. So like, send me pictures, and they will. So I'd be like, hey, give me an extra 100. I'll give you an extra $100. Come in. So I bought this Saturn. These early Saturn cars, the early ones, like in the late 90s, whatever it was. They were good running cars. Now this was in 2000, maybe 10. So something online, like the YouTube video around there, they're like, it was like, oh, the most reliable cheap car now for use are these Saturns. I forgot the motor, whatever, and people were buying it. So I was like, hey, I'll flip one. Found one. The guy had been at the auction. He's like, yeah, you know what? That's perfect for me because I got like a bunch of these people with me. We're driving these cars back to wherever. We'll swing by Pasadena and give you the car. I was like, I'll give you an extra $100. All right, cool. Don't even have to test drive it. Just bring it, So he goes, look, man, when we show up, don't, be prepared. Cause they were. So yeah, okay, I don't care, I'll be up front. Just call me, and I did. And of course, there was like 4 or 5 of them in car, and they look kind of. I mean, to other people, they look kind of, they're serious people. But so long story short, I buy this car, and then I had other stuff to do, so I would just, okay, it's fine. I didn't really go through the car. It took me like a day or two before I actually looked through, clean, whatever. It was clean already. So like a couple of days later, I go to the passenger side and I open the door, and what do I find? A wad of cash. Pardon me. And the guy that had delivered it to me, he was wearing like sweatpants, and he was dropping cash, picking it up. He even said, "Man, there's no telling how much money I've lost today, but I got, I'm a, whatever he was. I got cash, I have my money. Okay, fine." So I found this wad of money, and I'm like, did he drop this? Should I call him and like give it back? Well, maybe. Whoa, hold on. If he had, and he thought that he would have called, wouldn't he? So I'll just wait. He never called. So, I mean, again, that's kind of dishonest. But hey, I bought the car, everything in it. So technically, by California law, that was mine. So I paid like, I think $800 for the car, gave him $100, like $900, and I made like just that shit. I'm not going to say how much, but it was a lot of money. Not too much, but for me, it was in the thousands. You're like, yes, success. And then I flipped that. I don't want to be driving a Saturn. For one, I'm 6'2", man. I got that little thing. I see. And of course, I flipped it, took that, and you just continue. You just keep doing it. And then if I made like, a little nest egg, again, I wouldn't do it for a while because I wanted to do other things. I used to go to Venice every week. I love the boardwalk. During the day, there's all these theaters out there, and they have matinees and this and that. And you just want to, there's so much to do out there. There's trails to walk, and there's, oh my God. And then, daily you could, in fact, there's so much, you can't keep up with let's go to the Griffith Observatory. Let's go to, shit. Let's go to Melrose. And, I didn't want to collect things or property or whatever it was. I'd rather experience life. I'd rather have memories. Again, people are different. I get it. People need, hey, I wanted to have fun. My dad, he died. He was a doctor. He died when he was young. He died when he was 40. So I kind of thought, well, maybe I'll die, So I want to live my life. And there's a lot of fun to have out there. I mean, California's changed a bit, and California gets a bad rap. There's just a small percentage of people that are ruining it for Californians and everybody else. But man, Californian people are cool. California is the people I'm talking about are cool. Yeah, there's bad people, but I'm telling you, man, living out in California, man, they'll help you out. I mean, it's just like shit. You know your neighbor. Matter of fact, I knew more of my neighbors in any area where I lived than I do now. And my neighbors fight amongst themselves. Forget about fighting with me. I don't want to shit. They'll be yelling across the street from me. What are you guys fighting about? And you find out they grew up together. That's shit, man. I don't want to do. I'm not. That's let them do them. Let them do that. And like I said, I taught my friends. Like, look, man, I just lost my job. I'm tired of this. Can you help me? Yeah, let's go flip cars. And they'd be like, will you be here? I'll give you a little bit of money if you'll help me sell it. Hey, okay. Like if I sell it for a certain amount, I get 100. If I sell it for more, because a lot of times I'd be like, okay, if you want me to sell it, I'm putting this price on it. Like, oh, there's no way. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Because you've always got to put a little bit of lump on it because you can't go up. You can always go down. So I'd always pad it with like about 1,000, 500, whatever, you know. So I say, hey, after a certain, how much you want? Well, I want, whatever it is. Okay, all that, what I get above that, you get that, I get the rest. You're asking me for my help. So when I don't come complain, and people would, like, hey, it's like, why didn't you sell it? A lot of people would keep their mouths shut, like, thank you, Charlie. And they would keep on, we'd do it. Again, I taught girlfriends. I taught like guys, girls, everybody, young, old. I mean, and it's fun. Cars are fun. Again, you don't want to buy a lemon, but I know enough about cars. Growing up in Tennessee, like everybody can fix a car. I know a little bit about older car. Nowadays, I can't. But like simple shit, like replacing a headlight, taking out, replacing a battery. And an older car, like if it's a 318 Plymouth, whatever, the thermostat, like that little thing, and come on, hose, I could do that. I mean, I'm not a mechanic. And you are judged by what car you drive. People will ask you. You'll be on auditions. You'll be on something like, what kind of car are you driving? Like, are you kidding me? You're asking me that? A lot of times they'll laugh it off. But sometimes like, no, yeah, I need to know. I drive a wheelbarrow. What's it to you? Shit. I took the bus. You don't tell people you take the bus or the train, which again, I'll do a podcast on the trains and the buses the first 10 years in LA, I wouldn't get on a bus. Because they have a good mass transit, like the train, the tram, whatever. I just wouldn't do it. I always had a car. And then there's this stigma of people like, oh, he takes the bus and the train. Who cares? So I finally was like, dude, that looks like a Disney ride. It's above, the ones underneath the ground are kind of scary. And it used to be cheap. For $5, you could literally, for a day pass, you could go to like basically San Diego and back. For $5, you can spend the day. Just go, here we go. In traffic and the gas, you would have spent $100 or more. Or you might got stuck there overnight because who knows? Carjack, LA traffic's a thing. It's tough. So most of the time I would have I bought it was a 72 Mustang Fastback, had a big block in it, nice California car, rust free. It was like orange bronze with a black stripe across it, down the middle, I should say. And I needed to join the Screen Actors Guild. Like I was eligible, so I'm technically in the union, but then they only let you do so many gigs, union gigs, before like, hey man, you gotta, I think it's like 3 or something. You gotta pay the dudes. And it was like 1,500, 2,000. So finally, like, look, we know you got this role, but you got 30 days to pay, or you're not gonna be able to. What? Huh? Okay, fine. So I was like going to sell my big block, and it only got like 8 miles to the gallon. That's another thing. I went from gas station to gas station. If I went, that's all I did. So, so I put it. I forgot where I put it. It might have been the recycler. The recycler used to be like a newspaper you could sell. And I put it in there, and I lived across the street from Paramount Studios in this kind of like, apartment building, and kind of like apartment. And he's like, yeah, so I had to buzz him in, and I was like, okay, I'm in 61, whatever apartment I was in. Knock on the door, open it up, and it's Superman from Smallville, the actor who played Superman. It's like, dude, what? Yeah, I should have told you. Yeah, I mean, I don't care, but damn, open my door to the Superman. At the time, this was like a big show. Like, why are you buying mine? He said, well, it's a cool car. Hey, and it was nice. He had the money. There you go. He's like, you want an autograph? No, I don't want. You want some merchandise? I got some. Maybe I'll take some. Yeah, so I don't know. What if he still's got that? I forgot his name, but the dude that played Superman on Smallville was driving my old Mustang. Again, I flipped car. I've sold so many cars. I couldn't keep up with it. Uh, couldn't tell you. There's people probably still driving the cars that I've sold. I mean, I just left LA in February. I haven't even been back. Like, hasn't even been a year. It's what I like to do. It's something I came up with. It's like, wait a minute. And again, I would make more money than people with jobs. And I could go to lunch every day and hey, and I could do whatever, or I could sleep for 3 days straight, not have to, people stop, questioning or making fun because people think, like, oh, yeah. There's all kinds of opportunities in bigger metropolises. If you got, use your brain, have a little confidence, follow through, believe in yourself. Sound like a self-help, but it's the same, shit. I know people like a routine. I get it. I do too. But they need that routine. I get it, man. There's different people that are, and the older I get, I kind of think, well, truly, I should have maybe became a plumber. So I don't know. Like now it's like, wow, it would be kind of nice to have a house, but then I have friends that have houses, I have exes that have houses. But guess what? They want to sell that house. At first you're like, oh, I got a house. And then it's like, well, what do I need to do? So it's just, I don't want to be worrying about, because again, it goes back to people are different. People want to do, different things. People want comfort. I get that too. I do too. But then I wanted, and I'm grateful. I had so much fun. I get shit. 24 years. Now, granted, there's some bad time, and it's LA. It's the darkest of times sometimes. But sometimes in LA, your worst day in LA is better than the best day wherever you came from. Why? Because it's the California sun and dollar tacos, and you can get a bag of avocados for $1, Whatever you're into, shit, cool bars and just, people from all over the world. You're running in, people come from everywhere. You want to stay, you don't want to be hanging out in the hood, or maybe you do, but it's just, tomato. Some people want to do this, some people want to do that. I wanted to live my life. I wanted to have like experiences. Some people just stay around their hometown. I get that. There's nothing bad about that. I'm not trying to, matter of fact, what I did, there ain't a lot of people, like I was, how many times I've drove across America with a dog? Sometimes in a U-Haul, big old U-Haul, box truck. I just did it in February. In a Mercedes that I bought at some auction. It wouldn't even know, it was a smaller auction. Like this Mercedes place. They had, anyway. Again, I thought I'd never drive a Mercedes. Well, they run good. They're reliable. Hey, it's a 4-cylinder. It's fast. Woo! Matter of fact, I'm selling my car right now. Anybody want to buy a Mercedes? Because I need something bigger, man. I'm thinking about starting gigging again. People are like, dude, you need to start gigging again. You could be, and again, that I could make money doing that, but I got this little small Mercedes. I got to put amps and guitars and, whatever. So yeah, that's what I'm selling. So I could get like a minivan or a van or a truck, whatever, just to get, I miss gigging. And I just might do it solo. I just might be like, woo, with one part, there I am. I don't know if I need a band. That's more whoppers you got to buy and stuff like that. Maybe, perhaps. You never know. I love performing, so you never know. But cars, anywhere you're at, like right where I moved, there ain't no action flipping cars. There's rust buckets and, cars are expensive where I'm at. But if you go to St. Louis, which is like about an hour, 20 minutes away, whatever, 70, 80 miles, there's cheap cars to have. Like maybe I should is it worth my while to like place the ads there, go there and buy? I don't know. We shall see. Around here, I was thinking about how can I make money, and I've been racking my brain, and then I found out, looking around, this, that, fishing poles. People fish around here, lures. Hey, an old fishing pole. I mean, I don't know enough about them, but I'm not gonna be selling fishing poles. But I mean, again, that's the who cares what if I could sell manure, I would be the best manure salesman you'd ever seen. I'd be out there taking manure. Yeah, you're smelly. Take a shower. Again, it's what you're gonna do. What would you do? Again, I don't want to be a manure salesman, but I mean, if there's money in it, rocks. Who cares? That's just me. Again, I do this every day. I'll be ranting and raving. If you want to support the channel, the information's in Zelle, in the description. The information's in the description. Zelle. Yeah, see, I'm a dumbass. Please like, share, subscribe. I'm doing this every day. I want to do more of it, but my podcast is not that popular. So. Anyway, I'll be here tomorrow. I love y'all. Be blessed. Cheers.